Do you know what I'm curious is to know what's one of the craziest past life story that you have ever encountered?
I'm sure you've heard of crazy stories where, children remember their past lives and they've gone back to that specific lane, house, family, so
Wow.
it does happen. Young children talk about their past lives, and that's very, very normal. Sometimes you'll also hear children have imaginary friends. They're not imaginary friends, they're just angels, because we all do have angels, and children can actually see spirits and angels. But what happens is when they talk about past life situations or their dreams or these supernatural experiences, it's instinctive for the parents or family to snub it or wrong it, that no, you're hallucinating and nothing like this exists. But what they're saying is true. So, Rodrigo, once there was this mother who came to me, and she would be like, her child would just wake up every morning at 4 o'clock. And the child was just about 6, 7, and would just start going to the temple in the house and just start ringing the bell. And it continued for 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. And at that 6-year-old child would just kind of close his eyes and he would just recite something. And of course the mother, because of course it's quite astonishing and it's not natural, right? It went on for almost 3 to 6 months. And then when she brought him to me, when I did the past life, there was a lifetime that was shown that he was actually a priest in a Shiva temple.
Wow.
And something just told me that, when I was doing his healing, something just told me that he was going to, to validate that, the message I got is he was born a day before Shivratri. On that, because every year Shivratri is on a new day, right? It's not the same standard day. So when I cross-checked with the mother, she's like, he was born 6 hours before Shivratri started, because even Shivratri has a different Mahorat or timing, right? Just because it's on, say, 26th Feb, it's not going to be the entire day of 26th Feb. The energies they have the Mahorat. And she was shocked, And I was like, yes, so he was the priest in a Shiva temple, because I saw the Shivling and I saw him. So in this lifetime, for that 6-year-old child, he would just naturally wake up, things like, it's so true and it's quite intriguing, but it's also kind of, I wouldn't say eerie, but it's so interesting to kind of see how we carry certain imprints. We all do. It's just that with age and time and programming, we kind of forget that.
Have you ever met a celebrity in your past life encounters?
Like now, if I have to give you an example of Sidhu Moosewala, right? He is incarnated as his own parents' child. Do you know that whole scenario? Where there's this very famous Punjabi, he's a turbaned rock star, very, very famous, and he was shot dead, young guy. And his parents are in Punjab, and he was like the only son. And his parents were pretty old. But after he passed away, the parents decided to have another child. And the mother had another baby. And when I energetically connected, it was more of a validation that that soul of Sidhu Moosewala is incarnated as his own sibling back to his mother's womb, because he wanted to come back and be a part of that. So yes, I mean, it does happen. And I've also handled, of course, not a celebrity, but this has also been another scenario where some family had lost their child and then they wanted that same soul to come back. So they came to me and I gave certain predictions. Back in the day, IVF was legal. So they went down the IVF route, and they got it done. And then there were certain things once the child started growing up, where the mother was like, these are the things that exactly what my passed away daughter would do, things that she would like to eat, things she would not like. So yeah, there are like so many stories like these.
what is the best way that you can describe for someone that will never be able to feel what it is to have the third eye open?
So third eye, like I said, Rodrigo, when my third eye was open at the age of 9, it was like, oh my God, it was super, 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 super powerful, but also extremely overwhelming. I can use the word traumatic for a 9-year-old because it was too much for a child's nervous system to handle. Now I know better, but back in the day, because when you open the third eye, you can see into different dimensions. You can see what your naked eyes cannot see. You can tap into the spiritual world, astral world. And, people are intrigued about the spiritual world and the astral world, but let me also tell you that it's not all hunky-dory. It comes with a lot of dark forces because, again, where there's light, there is ought to be darkness. Darkness is equally a part of human existence, the universe, and nature. So, I could see spirits, I could see, ghosts, I could see low vibrational entities. And because those entities who are stuck in the astral realm know that I can see them, they would come to me asking for help for spirit releasement. So it was quite overwhelming, but again, because I had the right kind of master at that age, I had the right support system where I could sit and discuss what I was seeing with my mom. Like, Mom, I'm feeling scared, I can see someone. I had the right support system, right healing tools, techniques that were shared with me that could help me fight that, combat that, protect my energy. So it became a lot easier. That's why when people ask me, oh, we want to open their third eye, just out of curiosity, I said, that's not something you do out of curiosity.
Exactly.
Opening the third eye is very, very, very easy. It's a 10-minute job for any master. But sustaining that for the person whose third eye is opened, not everyone can handle it. So it's a power that comes with a lot of responsibility. And responsibility that you can't see with naked eyes.
Wow. What was one of the encounters with the dark energy that shook you the most?
There have been quite a few, to be honest with you. Nothing shakes me anything anymore because you're so used to it. Also, dark energies are not all are demonic or ghost. They are just low vibrational energies who are stuck. I've had like walk-ins and walk-outs. So walk-ins are what we call entity attacks, where if you're not protected all the time, you go to a place of a low vibration, or if you go to a crowded place, you do land up picking up energies, right? So I remember once I was invited to a friend's party. It was at a bar somewhere here in Juhu. And from the minute I walked in, I was excited because I was meeting all my friends. But from the minute I walked in, I was just not feeling right. I could feel that, physically my body was reacting to something. But, you're out there as a 25, 26-year-old girl having fun, whatever. And me and my friends were clicking pictures. And when I would see the pictures, even though there's light, there would be a black background and I could see eyes and like...
On the photo?
On the photo.
Wow.
And I was like, something was not right. Something was not right. First picture, second picture, there was like a shadow on my face. And I politely left because I genuinely started getting fever. So I didn't even stay back till the cake cutting. I left. And then later on, my friend with whom I'd gone, I'm like, babe, something wasn't right. Later on, I found out that pub was actually built on a graveyard. So,
wow.
So like encounters like these, Or I remember going to Istanbul, and Istanbul is super rich. I love that city. In fact, I've had some past life connection with, that city along with Bali. And the first time that my friend took me, around to the old Asian part where you have all the heritage, you have the Blue Mosque and you have the museum. I love the Blue Mosque. I love everything else. I couldn't, even I loved the museum, but when we were kind of going through the passage, I would actually walk and I would stop and I would tell my friend, and she knows about my ability. We discuss everything, and she's a photographer, great photographer. And I was like, I can hear footsteps, and there was nobody. And I'm like, no, I can hear women giggling. I can hear, how maids chatting and their footsteps. And then, when we kind of entered through the passage, to the right, there was the room where the queen of that palace, that was her room and all her belongings were kept. So I was actually right, because that was the passage for all the maids and the women to walk in and out. So things like these, I'm very sensitive to places, to restaurants, to hotels. Like, I will never, personally, as much as good they look, I will never be able to go and stay in a palace hotel or a heritage property, because I perceive. And when I say I perceive, it's not only negative, right? Souls are not always negative, but souls are souls. And if they're around me, it's that much hard work for me to keep protecting my energies, my family members' energies. Then it's not a holiday. So every time I'm traveling, I always try to make sure it's not a heritage property. It's not like those boutique 16th century, 18th century hotels or villas, So these things happen. So again, it's all thanks to third eye that you can perceive so much. So so many stories, Like, I could be talking to you and I could actually see like a spirit walk in, and I won't even tell you, but I'll protect the energies and do the entity clearing. So this for me is just very normal. It's all these things are very normal, because I don't know better, right? From the age of 9, it's all been very normal. Like, especially when I go to hospitals, when I'm walking through, at one point, I could feel like energy being pulled from my back, because souls who are stuck inside hospitals have the maximum amount of death, right?
Yeah.
So souls who have not released or who are stuck in the astral realm, they can recognize that this person can see us. They can recognize that this person can heal us. So I can literally feel energy being pulled out of my body so that they can release. So every time I'm entering a hospital, I try not to, unless and until it's really important. I'll protect my energies. I'll come back from the hospital, have a saltwater bath, cleanse my energies. So, I can never go to the Taj in Gulf Parade. I've been there twice and come back with fever. I've been to the loo, and I can hear like voices of spirits and souls stuck there. So
wow.
Like, I will never be able to go to a place where there's been mass destruction or mass murder. And I have to make a very conscious. For me, protecting my energies is far more important than just few hours of enjoyment.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
There's a lot of work, right?
There's a lot of work.
Yeah, but what does it feel like to have the third eye open?
It feels extremely powerful, but it can also be very exhausting, because you have to be on guard 24/7. So even middle of the night, if I wake up to go to the loo, I have to make sure I'm protected. Like, I have to consciously protect my energies. Every minute you're not only protected or conscious about your energies, you're also conscious about the space you are in, right?
Yeah.
Every time I'm having a party at home, I make sure that, the minute the party gets over, I do like a space smudging. It's just not one of those where you've had a good time and you hit the bed. You have to release all the energies people have left behind. Every time I'm doing my healing sessions from home, I have to keep clearing the space. Every time I'm talking to a client, the minute the session gets over and they walk out of the room, I have to do my cord cutting and protection every single day with every single client. That's not easy. For me, spirits and, entities are as normal as human beings. So imagine if I'm seeing 8 billion people in the world physically, 8 billion into 3, that's the quantity of souls without body.
Wow. And is there any funny story that you had in your with connecting with this let's say with the dark energy?
All the time, like it's happened. I was staying at a friend's place, and I was traveling for work, and I was at a friend's place, and every night I could hear drums. Okay, and it was just music, like not physical drums, but one night I thought maybe someone, in the above flat, neighboring flat, how artists are, they like to stay up in the night. First night, second night, then the third night I'd asked my friend, I'm like, this is some band practice happening. And she's like, no, in fact, there's an old uncle and like an old uncle staying and his daughter staying. Okay. Again, during the day I could hear it. I said, are you sure? She's like, yeah. So then she's like, I've just moved in here a year and a half ago, but I've only seen these two people. She must have asked the watchman of the building, the security guard, that, there's been like loud noises, a band. So is there anyone? Because, if at all they are, just ask them to keep it low, right? It's disturbing. The security guy tells my friend that there was a drummer who passed away 6 years ago. There was a guy from a band and he used to practice, but he passed away 6 years ago.
Wow.
And he lived not in the flat above my friend's, but on 2 floors above my friend's house. But I could perceive it. So, funny. I mean, not all entity stories or spirit stories are scary. They're funny as well.
How do you manage? Constantly, you are in this, between these two worlds, right?
Yeah.
And trying to make sense.
Yeah.
How do you manage it? So, like in your life?
It's difficult. That's why, like I said, I've learned to, it's not a magic trick for me anymore. I've learned to conserve my energies. I've learned to honor my gift a lot more. I think my honor towards my gift is far more stronger than other people's conviction. Like people tell me I'm going through a lot and I'm like, I empathize with you, but there's a certain protocol, right? And for me to help you, you need to also help me.
Yeah.
It's like a symbiotic relationship. Just because I'm a healer, just because I'm here to guide people, this does not have to be a parasitic relationship where you get something out of me at the cost of me dishonoring my gift or a certain professional code of conduct. So again, setting that boundary has come with years and years of experience, but I'm happy to do it right now.
Yeah. So what I'm thinking is like, but for us, that's like for everyone. So there's a lot of energy out there. Like for all of us that don't have the same, let's say, gift as you, how can we manage?
That was the first tip I said, that you need to protect your energies. So every morning when you wake up, put yourself in a bubble, a ball of white light, because white light helps with energy protection. Every time you feel drained out during the day, keep reinstalling that ball of white light. Because just because you've done it in the morning and you go into the public space does not mean that energy shield won't crack. If at all there's a negative force, negative energy, there are chances of that shield breaking. So the minute there's any kind of physical, mental, emotional discomfort, and our body responds, like I said, we just need to become aware to it.
I see.
So just keep protecting. That's the thumb rule for I would say for healers as well, and for anyone. I think energy protection should be taught in school. Day-to-day practical life, right? When you're living with family, if you're leaving for work, you've had your wife or your children yelling at the staff, or you yelling at your partner, or your partner yelling at you. You will carry that energy into your workspace.
Yeah.
Anyone even comes and tells you anything, you'll snap back at them. Your boss tells you something, you'll snap back, or you'll feel frustrated. Why? Because you've not cleansed that energy. You're just piling on energy. And then again, if you've had a bad experience with your boss and you're catching up with friends for drinks, you will carry that negative energy and you won't be fully present to enjoying with your friends. Your friends will have a good time and you'll be sulking. And then when you come back home, you're carrying the energies from your family members, colleagues, boss, friends, and back into your family.
Wow, yeah, true.
You know, and that's just keep protecting your energies. None of their energies belong to you. Stop holding on it.
So what is a psychic? Maybe you can
of course.
share.
So psyche means soul in Greek.
Mm-hmm.
It comes from the word psyche, which means soul. Now, as a psychic, I have a gift. When I see humans, I'm not seeing their shape, how they look, what language they speak. I'm picking up their soul energies. So for me, I categorize a soul into different layers: your aura, physical, your mental, emotional, and then your soul. So for me, I have, like when I'm doing my readings, I can pick up where there's a block in your physical body.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Without even like anything, or what issues you're going to have, when are you going to have those issues. There's some crazy things that show up. And your mental and your mental and emotional lessons, that why is your soul here, or what are your limitations mentally and emotionally that is blocking you from vibrating at a higher frequency. And then on the soul level, I talk about your karmas. So before every soul is born, we have a blueprint. And when we are born, we forget why we are here, right? We think that we are just here to enjoy and make money and study and work. And once you make a lot of money, that's when you start questioning, why am I here? You know? Earlier, that question would crop up when you're 50, 60 on your deathbed. Now, people have already started asking those questions by the time they're 25, 30. So I have that ability to tell you what are your timelines in terms of your career, your health, your family, your love relationships. When will you meet someone who's actually meant for you according to that blueprint? Or if you're with someone, or if you're stuck in a job or a career path where you're struggling, it's not meant for you, then I tell you that what are the changes you need to make in every area of your life to align your physical journey on earth according to the blueprint. So I'm like a GPS, right?
Okay.
The GPS tells you go straight and after 200 meters take a right. But if you are lost and you take a left, there's the GPS, it doesn't stop. There's like, okay, you have to take a U-turn. There is going to be a delay, but then take the next left. So it brings you back on track. So that's what I do.
Okay, so we are all born. Before born, we have a blueprint.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And after we are born, then what happens with that blueprint?
So till the time we are about 12 to 14, as kids, we remember it. But as we grow older, our conscious and our subconscious is absorbing so many judgments, so many projections, parents, society, education. So let me explain to you. We have the mind, we have the superconsciousness. We have the consciousness. The subconsciousness. And the unconsciousness.
Can you say that again?
The superconsciousness.
Superconsciousness.
That's the first. Then you have the consciousness. Subconsciousness and unconsciousness. Now the superconsciousness is outside of us. It's an elated sense of knowing. The consciousness, subconsciousness, and unconsciousness is within us. So when we are born, our subconscious mind is not developed. It's a clean slate. And that's where the knowing is, right? But as we are, we interact with family members, the families that we are born into, our friends, extended family members, school, the pressure from parents. The parents want you to become a tennis player or an engineer or a doctor. You absorb that, So by the time we are 16, 17, that subconscious is filled with so much of data that it forgets. So even if you consciously want to have access to your blueprint, you can't because it's so confusing, because you've been fed on so much of irrelevant data, which is nothing but just a judgment and projection about the world, right? So for example, if someone is born into a not so wealthy family and their purpose or why they are here is basically to become a dancer or to become an artist or to become a teacher, but that child will be told that, oh, you can't follow your passion because you have to make money. And you need to pick up a job that will help you pay your bills. So that child will choose a career path that will help him make money and not follow his gift or passion, you know. And then by the time he's 30, 40 and he's made his money, then he's sitting and questioning, oh, what's my passion and purpose? So we are all born with that innate knowledge of having that deep dive into what we are meant for. But because we also land up storing so much of data from the outside world that we just lose access. It's there, that knowing is always there. But then in order to get access to that knowing, you need to clear out, and that's what is healing, right? Imagine every single day, Rodrigo, you knew every morning that for this day, what do I have to do according to my blueprint? Wouldn't we all be such powerful beings, you know? But we are so absorbed into how other people are feeling. He said this, she did this. Why did she say this 5 years ago? And we still, those are all the excess data that is blocking all of us from getting access into those records, that why we are here.
Maybe you can share with us what are some of the struggles that people come to you for help that will help us to understand the...
Anything and everything. If someone is falling sick, oh, I've been sick for the last 45 days, someone has done black magic on me. Or I got promoted last year, but last 2 months I'm having issues with people at work. People are so jealous. Or why am I not getting married? Or every relationship I get into, you know, the guy dumps me or the girl dumps me. Or, you know, I'm making money, but I'm constantly paying off debts, you know, like basic things, right? And please understand that unfortunately, people find it a lot more easy to blame things on other people, because if they take responsibility means then they'll have to fix something. So when people come to me, I'm like, no one's done black magic on you. It's just that your health cycle is low. You were meant to fall sick. Or it's something that you are not doing right in your day-to-day discipline that is leading you into these loops of falling sick more often. So I give them that guidance. It could be as basic as, oh, you could be prone to lactose intolerant, go get an allergy test done. Or, you know, maybe you need to balance eating patterns. Now, intermittent fasting has become a fad. But also let me tell you that energetically, intermittent fasting does not suit everybody. You know, just because 10 people are doing something does not mean it's going to suit you as well. So sometimes I've read, when I'm talking to my clients, I'm like, you need to balance eating patterns. You're either eating a lot or there's too much of gap between your meals. And they're like, oh yeah, I do intermittent fasting. And I'm like, no, it won't suit you. You know, so things like those. So I create a physical health plan for them. Mentally and emotionally, I tell them what are the lessons they need to learn. Now, if a child comes and asks you, Rodrigo, that I need to score 100 on 100 or a 98 on 100 in math, you'll be like, you have to learn your lessons. You should know how to do your plus and minus, subtraction and multiplication. And once you master that, you'll be able to solve problems. That's basic, right?
Yeah.
Similarly with life, we have all certain lessons or what we call virtues that we need to embody. And once we start embodying those virtues and make it a part of our natural being, situations become a lot easier, right? You can't change the world around you. You can't change people around you. But when you build your mental and emotional immunity, you'll be able to deal with anything and everything.
Before we go there, maybe I'm curious to understand what are some of the root causes for example these struggles that you mentioned. You say that we have a lot of stuff, and that what are the root cause for these struggles?
So again, the root cause can be on a karmic level or choices of free will. So for example,
so what do you mean about karmic level?
So, okay, karmically, we are all controlled by time in human form.
Okay.
Because we are living in right now, it's a 5-dimensional world, right? But our body is still in space and time. And I'm sure you've heard about the 3D and the 5D.
Yeah.
3D is all about space and time. And again, I'd written this quote in my first book, which is so true, that time is the only tool through which the universe controls us in human form. Time is everything, right?
Yeah.
So when you have to learn certain lessons, or when you have to enjoy the positives or the negatives, everything is timed.
Okay. Yeah.
Even when we are doing this podcast, everything revolves around timing, right?
Yeah.
What time we will meet, what time we will shoot, what time we will finish.
Yeah.
So in human form, the souls need to clear their karmic baggage in timelines, right? Say you have murdered someone in another lifetime. Now, if you want to balance that, are you going to be murdered the day you're born? No. Even for you to go through that same experience, there's going to be a timeline. You will be like, you know what? In my past life, I've made a lot of money and I've not had a chance to do seva or to help people. But I've also murdered somebody else in another lifetime, for example. Say we are dealing with these two combinations.
Exactly.
So before you are born, your soul will be like, okay, I'm taking a new life. My soul wants to do seva, but my soul also wants to finish off that pending karma of me killing someone. So I am going to choose somebody else to come kill me.
Wow.
So in this lifetime, your plan will be like, okay, I'm going to make money, and I'm going to make money and channelize that money through seva. And once I feel that I've done enough of seva, maybe at the age of 45, 50, 55, I am willing to go through that experience of being murdered. So that ways, you're doing your earthly duties also. You are finishing a karma of wanting to do seva also. And you're also balancing the karma of that murder. Correct?
Wow.
So that's how it works. It's not that, suppose someone has experienced poverty in another lifetime. And in this lifetime, they want to experience wealth. They will choose to be born in a wealthy family, or they can choose to be born even in a poor family, but make wealth at the age of 19, 20, or 30, or 32. Not everyone starts dealing with karmas from the day they are born. There are timelines. We keep investing energy in the wrong job, wrong relationships, wrong friendship, and then we don't get any returns. And then we feel depleted. And we worked for lifetimes and lifetimes to achieve this energy, right? One wrong relationship, one wrong trauma, one wrong marriage, one wrong career choice can completely deplete you of that soul energy, soul frequency. So that's how it all works.
So, but one is karma, right? One is your karma.
One is karma and one is choice of free will.
Okay.
So when you start the GPS, the GPS tells you there's a certain route that cannot be changed, right? That is karma, the end result. And one is choice of free will. If the GPS is telling you after 100 meters take a right, but you decide to take a left, what is your initial destination where you'll reach in 20 minutes? If you take a left, maybe you'll reach in 35 minutes. There's a delay. Like, for example, I have seen so many clients where they're in their mid-30s, late 30s, early 40s, and they're not married, especially women. Men usually don't stress about it, it's the women. And they're like, oh, is it my karma that I have to be single? Is it, they blame it on karma.
Okay.
And when I talk to them, I'm like, no. And I actually pinpoint certain timelines that you were meant to get married. You had opportunities to be married in this time period between the age of you being 25 and 27, but you chose career. And there was another opportunity at the age of 31 to 33, but you wanted something else at that point, and then you called it off. And they're like, yeah, bang on. So people don't. So again, karma is what the universe sends to you. Your choice of free will is what you do with it, right? Now, people do make money, but then they come back to me saying, I don't have money. And I'm like, no, the universe has bought money to you. You have made money last year, this timeline. But if you are spending that money on unnecessary things, getting attached to other people's problems, that will define your future.
Oh, I see.
Yes or no?
Yeah.
Like if you give 3 people $10,000, one will go and buy 2 expensive bags, one will go on an expensive luxury holiday, and one will invest it wisely. Everyone's future is going to be very different. The first 2 will come back saying, I don't have money. And the third one will be like, I'm secure. That's a choice of free will, right?
Yeah, I see.
Like sometimes, even when we're talking about relationships, I tell people, when they say that, oh, we've got these proposals for marriage, and I'm like, I take the name of the person. I'm like, okay, this is a good karmic match. So if you're to get married to this person, your quality of your life will be good. But if you want to get married to this person, be ready to go through a problematic marriage or a divorce, or it won't be a healthy quality of life. And they're like, no, but I am more attracted to the second one. That's a choice.
Yeah.
So then it's my duty that I cannot influence choices. But as a psychic or as a therapist or healer or whatever, it's my duty to inform them that you want to go for that. Great, it's your choice. But then be ready to deal with the repercussions of it. Then don't blame it on karma. Don't blame it that, why is God punishing you? God is not punishing you. God is giving you a sign.
Yeah.
But you also need to follow it. And I think that's a mistake that people make. Everyone wants signs. Every morning people sit and ask for signs. But when the sign comes through, they don't want to implement it because they're so, they're so comfortable in their space. And sometimes that space is not the healthiest. And sometimes people also enjoy being a victim, right? Because they have karma and God and universe and people to blame.
Yeah.
So
you talk about, so you started, there's a blueprint that we have, but then we had a lot of things on top of the blueprint that make us like then we don't know our blueprint and we feel lost. And you spoke about one is karma, can be also past life, right? When you are with someone, how do you know that the let's say the trauma that is coming, is it karma, is it a past life, or is it something else?
It can even be a present life connection. Say,
exactly.
For example, you and me may have not encountered a cross paths in past life. But in this lifetime, we are meant to play a role in each other's life. So the first sign is there's a sense of knowing and comfort. You feel light in that presence.
Okay. I like that. The sense of knowing.
The sense of knowing.
Yeah.
The second sign is everything happens very effortlessly.
Okay.
The third sign is it may not logically make sense to you, but still emotionally, you feel right. You still do things that in any other situation or with somebody else, it would just not happen. So when something is karmic, even though it might be a little painful, there's a sense of strength or a knowing that it's okay.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for example, say I'm dating a guy with whom I don't have a karmic connection. But if he does something bad, I might break up. I'm like, this is not okay with me. And I could be with another guy with whom I have a karmic connection, and he does exactly the same thing to me. But from my soul gives me the strength and courage to handle it and forgive that person and still continue being in that relationship. So that's how one knows that whether this is karmic or not. Like even when we decided to do this podcast, originally I was supposed to go back, and I changed my tickets, and then you were traveling and you also landed up. So everything kind of fell into place very effortlessly, right? It was not too much of going back and forth. Needed, it's not that you preponed to come back from Japan, or I was like, what I'm trying to say is it all happened very seamlessly, and it kind of fell into place. So when something is karmic, you just go with the flow. It's your own expectations and your mind that creates limitations. So in one line, when something is karmically meant for you, you feel light about it no matter how difficult or painful the path is. And when something is not karmic, no matter how good it is, it still feels heavy.
Okay, but also it can be related with if people, like they have the blueprint, if certain things happen in the past, there are blocks, right? And even if people try to understand what they want, or it's hard, right?
Yeah.
So what are some type of blocks that you find in people from the past?
So first of all, Rodrigo, not everything that we are facing in this lifetime is because of our past, always.
Okay.
Because if we only kept replicating our past lives, there would not be any growth, right? Imagine we're having this conversation, but the next time I come or we meet and we are having exactly the same conversation, there's no growth for you, there's no growth for me. We are going to have a fresh conversation, and maybe something that was left incomplete from this conversation, you'll be like, oh, you mentioned about this, let's talk about that again.
Yeah.
So, or even when we go to work, do we do the same thing again every single day? No. We pick up more and more responsibilities, and maybe one or two of things that you've left incomplete from yesterday, we carry that forward into the new day. Similarly, with past lives, not every suffering or everything that's happening in this lifetime is connected back to the past. Maybe there could be 1, 2, or 3 things that could be a past life connection, but not everything. Number 2 is you also land up picking up a lot of trauma, a lot of baggage, a lot of judgments, emotional blocks from your mother's womb in this lifetime.
Okay.
So, that's why they say that pregnancy, when a mother is bearing a child and carrying a child, she's supposed to be kept happy. It's supposed to be the best phase. Take care of her, nurture her, pamper her, because every emotion, good, bad, ugly, whatever she's sensing gets passed on to the soul DNA of the child, and that becomes the soul imprint. So if your mother has going through a very traumatic time, or went through betrayal during pregnancy, or was abused, or felt the fear of, or had this fear of scarcity, or victimhood, or sadness, or jealousy, or constantly seeking approval from people, your child will carry that in the soul DNA. The only difference is it won't show up till the time they're adults. Because like I said, from the time they're 7 to 21, their energy is very fluid. It only starts solidifying after they're 21. So while they're children, you won't realize, that, this one day your child is like you, one day your child is like your father, one day your child is their own being. But by the time they're 21, 22, 23, it becomes very easy for parents to associate that this is exactly like me. This is exactly like me,
Okay.
So, because that's when your energy solidifies. So everything that they've picked up from the womb, from their early years, from the formative years between 7 to 21, that all gets solidified. So till the time it's like wet cement. Even if there's a strand of hair that falls in, which is naked, which you cannot see with naked eyes, that will take shape. You know what I mean? So it's not only the past life baggage that we carry, it's also our parents' experiences, what was told to us.
Maybe to finalize, maybe you can give us some techniques that we can use in our daily life to keep our energy clean and flowing.
The minute you start cleaning the baggage,
Yeah.
automatically your vibrations will go higher.
Okay.
We as souls are like springs.
Yeah.
Imagine a lot of weight on the spring.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
all
yeah,
the
yeah,
trauma
yeah.
and toxics and judgments, projections, and other people's energies, your
Yeah.
patterns. Slowly, slowly, when you start lifting off the weight, what happens to the spring?
Oh, I
It
see.
bounces back.
Yeah.
So it kind of goes hand in hand, healing and, increasing in your vibrational energies. But few tips is I will first start with, you cannot undo what's happened in the past. But the minute you become aware, you can protect your energies so that you don't pick up more energies and trauma that you need to heal. So start by protecting yourself in a ball of light, white light every morning. Every day, every time, it could be 10 times a day, it could be 2 times a day. When you feel something is feeling heavy energetically, put yourself in a ball of white light. Have a salt water bath. Salt is the most potent element because it's actually made of salt is the most important mineral because in order to make it, you need all the 4 elements: earth, air, water, and fire. Fire here is the sun. So that's why we all talk about salt water bath, because salt water has the ability to absorb any aura of physical energies. Okay. The third thing is journaling. By journaling is introspecting, reflecting, asking yourself, what is bothering me? At what level it is bothering me? Physically, mentally, emotionally. Does this belief system belong to me? Or even just for beginners, I'll say that just start journaling. What are your belief systems? Belief systems about career or money, or like I gave you an example, my belief system was it's not safe for me to put myself out there or show, but it took me a while. So even for me to recognize that, where is the resistance coming? You can even start by, what is my body resisting, or why is it resisting, or where is there resistance? Another way is grounding, and grounding is something I swear by. So so the reason why we say grounding is so important from a spiritual aspect or an energy aspect, Rodrigo, when you're not rooted into the Mother Earth, anything that's happening outside of you, anyone says something, anyone does something, you will get swayed, right? Someone says, oh, don't go to this place, you'll fall sick. Someone says that, oh, don't do this, someone says that don't work with this person. You keep swaying. And energetically right now, we're all like headless chickens, right?
Yeah.
Constantly swaying. But imagine when you root your energies, okay, you start operating from your own strengths. It's like a banyan tree and a coconut tree. A banyan tree, the roots go deep. No amount of storm and wind can sway it. But you look at a coconut or a palm tree, even the lightest gush of wind, it will move directions because it's not rooted. So grounding is basically, if I'm to kind of explain the process, it's a simple way of, connecting and visualizing roots from your feet, going deeper into the center of Mother Earth. So it takes 2 minutes for, people who struggle with visualization, but you can do this once a day. You can do it once in 3 days, as in when you're okay with. So visualize roots from your feet penetrating into the core of Mother Earth and like feeling that gravitational pull. And at that point, you can also affirm that I'm willing to release all the pain, physical pain, emotional pain, mental pain, all the negative energies, all the traumas, all the unforgiveness, all my need of seeking approval, all my need of sabotaging myself. Whatever you're going through, you could be feeling jealous because of a friend, release that jealousy. You could be feeling angry with someone, release that anger. You could be feeling insecure or a sense of betrayal, give your feeling a word and just say that I'm willing to release everything I do not need. You can use words like everything that does not belong to me, everything that is stopping me or blocking me from my highest good. I'm willing to release it. And just feel the energetic release into the Mother Earth. And then once you feel complete, you can just visualize yourself in a ball of white light. For me, I've been doing this for 16, 17 years and it works wonders.
And how often do you do?
Every day.
Every day you do?
And of course, with practice, like you can start doing it with open eyes. You don't really have to close your eyes. You can do it in the car. You can do it. I could be talking to you right now and also grounding my energies because so many years of practice. Also, breath work really works. Again, my guru who taught me a lot of breath work, breath is prana. It's the force of life, right? Our organs survive on oxygen, right? So we are just breathing so shallow that we do not allow that oxygen. So breath work like 4, when you're inhaling 4, 7, where you're holding for 7 counts. And then when you're exhaling toxics, you're exhaling carbon dioxide, you're exhaling everything that is not needed. So like even 5 to 8 minutes of breath work a day really, really, really works to begin with. So.
Yeah, for me, breath work has been a huge game changer for me. It has helped me a lot in grounding.
It does, it does. And it just creates room for so much more energetically. And also music. I personally love listening to a lot of mantras, high vibrational music, because again, sound is very, very, very powerful. Our body, our cells react to sound beautifully. So, wake up in the morning and listen to your mantras, whatever that you resonate with. It doesn't have to be a specific god or religion. It could be flute music. It could be, sound bowl healing. It could be that handpan music. It could be a Hindu mantra or a Buddhist mantra. Whatever your soul resonates with. But I think music really can be superbly I think it's very underrated as a healing modality. It's really coming up in the forefront through sound bowl healing. But I think that really works wonders.
All right, so we're going to finalize. Just what is one thing that you would like people to get out of this conversation?
You are much, much, much more powerful than you think you are. And you always have a choice. You always have a choice to release and discard anything that doesn't fit in with your purpose, your belief systems. If something is not adding value to your life, it's time for you to let it go.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Nice.